Hey, this is Mike from Junkyard Crafts and Builds, and this is the unboxing and impressions video of Four Horsemen Studios figure obscura, the Masque of the Red Death. Now, this is a figure that they had put up on sale at the time of this recording. It was September 23rd of this year, and I had this guy in hand on the 27th of September. So they had a very quick turnaround for this guy, and I'm very happy to have picked him up. So they also were offering other items with this figure, and I was able to acquire one of those items as well, which I will show in this video. But we're going to start with looking at the front of the box, and this thing is immaculate. It is so eerie and creepy, and it shows a drawing of the Red Death here on the front. Looks very, very cool and ominous. So moving around, we see that this image wraps through on the side with an image of the grandfather clock, Four Horsemen on the side. And on the back of the box, we have a summary of Edgar Allan Poe's short story entitled Masque of the Red Death. So I'll pause this here so you can read it. And continuing on, we see another image here from the short story. So again, a really, really amazing looking outer box for this figure. The cool thing about this package is that it actually has a hard cardstock outer cover that's been magnetized, and inside you see this beautiful piece of artwork of Prince Prospero and some of the attendees from his garish party, which is depicted in the story. And it kind of represents the 7 deadly sins. It's also the depiction of the different room colors. It's really, really gorgeous. I want to try to find a digital copy of this because this would be a fantastic wallpaper. Additionally, I purchased this really, really nice enamel campfire mug from the Four Horsemen, and it's a nice heavy metal, again with the red enamel over it. Masque of the Red Death with the Four Horsemen symbol here on the front, and then this nice handle, and on the back is another image from that packaging of the Red Death going across with his robes flowing around the side of the mug thing. And on the bottom here we have figure obscura with the Masque of the Red Death there on the bottom. So again, it's a really cool, nice little mug. That's the best way I can say it. And before we get to the figure, I wanted to show this little fold-out diorama piece that's part of the backing of the package, and it's just a really, really awesome image of the stained glass window that's kind of depicted in the short story, and it's just really, really beautiful. I mean, you could use it for a backdrop for this figure in your display. And here is the figure out of the package, and oh my gosh, guys, this thing really is gruesome but gorgeous at the same time. The presence this figure has is just, it's mind-boggling. So this figure is enrobed in soft goods thanks to C. Jessam, and it has 2 different shades of this blood crimson red fabric between this top cowl and side pieces here, and then this darker red toga type piece that goes over the kind of tunic area here. And as you can see at the bottom, it's frayed and distressed. Really kind of brings out some of that character of the Red Death, and just basically like a plague version of the character. The soft goods does have a wire in it to pose, but it's not really that strong, so hopefully there'll be some third-party or customized pieces that can be bought at Legion's Con to kind of make this a little more substantial, or people just go ahead and put in a stronger gauge of wire into the fabric to help with posing. So we're going to zoom in here on the face and kind of really go into the detail of what we have with this figure. And we'll zoom in close here on the face just to really take a look at this breathtaking head. I mean, the mask is just detailed to all get out. There's a beautiful wash over top of this softer plastic overlay. You can take the mask off. I won't do that in this video. I'll do it in a supplemental short that I'll attach to this, just out of respect for the Four Horsemen and for those that have not received their figure yet, just so you can have that experience on your own. But again, just the look of this guy is amazing. The sculpt texture on the back of the skull itself is just really, you can't say enough about it. It's just so absolutely gorgeous. So again, truly a work of art. Just the gruesomeness, or the way that the paint is applied with the wash. When you put some, when you have light to it, again, it has that really kind of organic and wet look, which fits in perfectly with this idea of the plague and some of the maladies that come with it in regards to the blood coming out of the pores and whatnot. So it's just a really gorgeous looking figure. The other features of this figure that you really can see outside of the robe soft goods are his two arms here. And another example of a beautiful sculpt, this ebony black blending up into this dark crimson deco at the end of his hand on his right side. Just really frightening looking. And again, the red hand of death reaching out for you. And on this other side here, this arm is again all ebony except for the tips. You can see kind of go into that crimson color as well. Even the fingertips or the ends of his hands have been painted this darker crimson black red here. Even his desiccated feet have had some deco applied to it in regards to his nails here. And as I said, most of this figure is covered in this soft goods material, and we have three pieces here. This outer hood with these three pieces of fabric, and that's attached to the inner portion here of his tunic. He also has this toga style darker red covering over him here, so you're definitely getting layers in his look here. And he also has a new piece from the Four Horsemen with this hard plastic diaper, so to speak, and it's really decoed and textured well as well. And starting with the articulation on his toes, we have an ankle pivot or an ankle bend up. And again, look at the texture on the bottom of his feet, even just amazing. He can bend his toes 2 clicks down, so he can go nearly on his tiptoes. And we have an ankle pivot. And then we also have a rotation at the ankle here. Moving up to his knees, we have a single jointed knee that gets you just about 90 degrees. And we also have a rotation joint here at his kneecap as well. And then moving up to his thighs, we have thigh rotation. Mine is a little tight because I didn't really mess with that well. And you can kind of get him in a stance out, but really you're not going to be doing a lot of that with this guy. It's really just, that's about it. Moving up here to the waist, we have a waist rotation joint here that you can get him around. He also has a rotation here at the upper torso that he can bend back slightly and arch down slightly. Moving on to the arms, while this arm is kind of encumbered with the soft goods, you can get it up and down. His arms can go up to a T-pose if they were both available, and there is a rotation at the shoulder. And then for his elbow, we have a new kind of cut in regards to the sculpt that allows the single jointed elbow to actually go up past 90 degrees. And then there is rotation at the elbow. And then at the wrist, we have rotation and a pivot horizontally for these hands. Finally, with the head, pulling this back, we can articulate up that far, down to there, and you can push it further thanks to this ball hinge here. Again, rotation 180 degrees and a really nice tilt to the head for posing. Accessory wise, He comes with this short dagger, which in the story Prince Prospero threatens him with. Again, it's just a beautifully painted piece here with this silver for the blade and parts of the hilt, and then the grip is in this dark brown. In addition to the open palms that come default on the figure, he comes with a pair of these closed or closer, like clawish hands for gripping. Again, just another beautiful sculpt, and again, the two colors go with each arm, and they are both horizontal pivots. He also comes with a pair of gripping hands for item holding, like the dagger and whatnot. His final pair of hands are item holding hands again, but instead of the horizontal pivot, these have a vertical pivot point. His final accessory, and by far the coolest part of this entire set, is this beautifully sculpted great grandfather clock, which, reading the story, you know, every time it chimes, it actually creates a uneasy pause among the attendees of the party. Starting at the top of the grandfather clock, we have this separate piece that can be added on, and it is sculpted as a raven to help depict with Edgar Allan Poe, as he's synonymous with his just really nice addition to it. And the blood red eyes here on the raven, just another ominous tone and touch to this diorama piece. Moving down, we see the face of the grandfather clock, and it has this really gorgeous paint deco on it, and you can see the rotating of the moon. The hands do not move; they're stuck at 12. They kind of depict the last time this grandfather clock chimed for the guests. Moving on down, we see the bells and the chimes that are part of this clock, and the pendulum. And here at the bottom of the clock, we have this really awesome looking sculpt of a horned creature. Could be the representation of the devil, I'm not sure, but it's just nicely sculpted here onto this clock. And then we have here at the bottom the clawed feet of the clock, and a really silly deal of the idea of death and ominous tones. We have this really nice bottom plate that comes with this clock, and it's this really dark crimson piece that kind of flows out, beautifully painted, and it comes on with 4 pegs that align with obviously the 4 pegs on the bottom of the clock here. It does have a removable front plate, and with that face plate removed, you can really get a closer look at the details of this piece. So, final impressions of the Four Horsemen Studios figure obscura Masque of the Red Death. It's a beautiful depiction of a horrifying short tale by Edgar Allan Poe. The sculpt and paint decorations and the level of detail that the Four Horsemen have put into this figure is just unparalleled. The soft goods with the different layers and colors really create a good depth for this figure, and the accessories with the grandfather clock and the blood that comes out from underneath its feet for the figure to stand on is just a really nice, scary touch. If there are things to nitpick, one is the gauge of wire in the soft goods for posing. I feel it's a little thin and not really able to stand up to a lot of bending or getting a lot of poses together. Secondly, the soft goods are a little thick, which does limit the movement of the left arm on the figure. But then the positives just definitely outweigh in regards to, like I said, the sheer presence this figure has on your display shelf. He's got this presence, and he's just really cool. And yeah, I mean, that's most of what I can say. I think he's pretty much sold out by now. Hopefully you had a chance to get your copy of this guy. If not, you're going to have to go with the secondary market. I don't know if he'll be available at Legions Con this November, but I'm glad I have him. and I'm glad I could show him off to you here. So that's basically the end of the video here. Again, I'm very humbled and happy that you were watching, and if you like this type of content and want to see more, please hit subscribe and hit the notification bell so that way you know when I put up new videos. Thank you very much. Have a great time. Bye.